Greetings from the corner of West 117th and Lorraine Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. Today is Sunday, September 21st, 2025 at 10:32 a.m. Eastern Time, about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll get a little hotter later. So even though we're at this intersection, we're not going to do much down Lorraine. We're going to end up trying to do our bike ride down Triskett Avenue toward the Warren Village area, and then probably up near 150th and that plaza that they recently built. Used to be where Kmart is. Well, it'll kind of be like the reverse of a video I did a couple of years ago. This right here on the corner was a former Rite Aid, and now they're in the process of converting it to something called Archwell Health. It says primary care for adults age 60 plus. And then a little bit further down, that's where that way back in the day on 117th, that diner used to be that I think Dennis Kucinich and others used to patronize. But let's get ready to get started now. Only going down Lorraine this partial block, and then I'm gonna make a right-hand turn here at West 118th Street. See, some of the little tiny leaves are falling, giving you a glimpse of the fall season to come. Some leaves are starting to turn. You got Variety Theater there on the left. You know, not active, of course, but over the years, many attempts to try to rehab it. But the only thing visible to us is really the outside rehabilitation. You know, it's funny, this side street up here, I've gone down it probably hundreds of times in my lifetime. I've never paid attention to what the name is. Geraldine is the name. One of the little brick roads that goes from West 117th Street. And since Triskett near the beginning part is a little bit of a busier intersection, if we're riding in the past from Lorraine Avenue to go toward the West Park area or sometimes into Lakewood, we oftentimes will take Geraldine here up to, this is probably West 120th. Yeah, West 120th Street. And at the stop sign, we make a right-hand turn to get over to Triskett. So hopefully you guys enjoy the ride, see some of the late glimpses of the summer season. There's a little church here on the left side. I assume it's a church, a place of worship. They did have this road closed just 3 days ago when I came by on Thursday evening, but now it's in better open shape. They must have patched up whatever they were working on here. Although it's still sandy. It is one thing you have to be careful about is the sand in construction areas. I had a buddy who's a avid bike rider in the Cleveland area. I'm not sure exactly where the construction was, probably somewhere on the east side. But he's like, I don't know what happened. He said, I was riding and somehow my bike tire just couldn't handle the sand and completely slipped, and he face planted into the ground. It was busted wide open. But fortunately, because when I actually got to see his face for the first time in probably a couple months since that happened, I wouldn't have even noticed anything. So he got lucky in that regard, but he still thinks he had a concussion. So yeah, you never know with the construction debris. I mean, most of the time it should still be safe on a bike, but especially if you're making a turn at that angle or stopping and skidding. On the right side of the street, you have the Lantern Center for Recovery. And this is how Triskett goes. On this initial stretch, at least, you have houses and neighborhoods on the left side, and then on the right side a bunch of business type spots. Most of them are sort of, we're going to call them industrial, or at this gate flown open. Triskett starts off uphill if you're walking or riding your bike. It's not too much of an incline, like you're able to manage it without feeling it at an extreme level in your legs. It is a little bit overgrowth on the shrubbery there. So you hop over it. But yeah, once you get to, it looks like West 125th here, that's the peak of that little hill, and then you kind of can go flat for a stretch, small stretch, and then a slight incline downward. This house here over the years often has their dogs outside barking, so since the fence is so close to the sidewalk, you have to be careful that they don't jump the fence. And now this is where you can coast. So it's one of those things where it's such a subtle downhill, but you can go several blocks without pedaling. Like West 128th Road is closed today with the water department doing some work. Some houses also starting to decorate for Halloween. One thing I noticed, I'm pretty sure it's new, this house here having a fence around its front yard. And it's very similar to the fence around this business at West 130th Street. I know I can recall when they built this business, again it's been up for a while. I'm saying the word business, I don't actually know what's in it, if it's like a warehouse or if it's attached to this small building next door that usually says, I think it used to say the word battery on it. On the right side of the road there's a Huntington Bank. If you know better, you know Battery Empire. Well, but then the outside of this place doesn't have a sign on it anymore. Over here it does say Battery Empire, so I don't know if the whole thing belongs to Battery Empire or there's also a thing here that says Cornhole Headquarters, boards and bags in stock. So now we're crossing Berea Road, coming up on George's Kitchen. I know it was a year or two ago, a car crashed into that sign. This is one of the rare times I've been by in a long time where George's Kitchen I'm actually coming by when it's open, and you can see how busy it is. Usually I come by in the evening when it's closed. So the parking lot is full. Be fun to eat there one time. Again, to reminisce. I probably haven't eaten there since I was in elementary school or something. That would have been like nearly 30 years ago. But it's certainly a Cleveland staple. Let me try to turn around real quick, and unfortunately I don't capture the sign here, but I can at least take a picture and say the busy George's Kitchen parking lot. Over here on the left side you have Mohican Park. It's kind of cool when I map it out in my head sometimes, where when I think about videos I've done that can sort of be bridged together over time. Like I did a video earlier this year that started at West 105th by Thrush Park, and the focus of the video was to look at parks. So I did Thrush Park up to Halloran Park, up to Jefferson Park, and then ended at Mohican Park. So that's sort of like, oh, okay, if someone wants to sort of like do a continuation from the end of that video, or if they want to, you know, just see something similar, they can do it from there. Getting a picture of George's Kitchen from the distance. So now we're on the north side of Triskett. One of these trees with the big, I'm not sure what the produce would be called. Those are, you know, pretty heavy ones. You can see some of them smashed on the ground. Now this one was more of the, again, it's not that it's not doable. I'm saying in the past when we would ride down Triskett, you have that slight incline coming up initially, and then when you get past George's Kitchen, this is the bigger hill, and then once you reach the middle of this bridge, that's like the final hill you have to climb during your trip. This bridge passes over a train, which there is a train running down there right now. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. That's a train loading, I don't know, this one looks like industrial supplies. But also that road goes, the train tracks on the other side in front of us are for the red line. Actually not, it'd be to the left of where you see that train, and then the Triskett Rapid Station's back there. Down here is one of those early education, or I don't know if it's a daycare or early education places, but it's called Horizon. And the rest of it's just a Triskett parking lot. Now I can get back on the bike and continue. Right here where this fence is, this small chain link fence, this is where they used to have a staircase that you could take and walk down to the area we were just showing, so you could get to the Triskett station without having to go all the way around over here. But once they built that Horizon thing, I think that staircase was in sort of disrepair over the years. They kind of just said, "Hey, let's get rid of it." And then right in front of us here, if you check out pocotraveler.com, I did a long article once that talked about how this spot used to be home to a McDonald's location back in the day. So if that's fascinating to you, feel free to check out all the details I wrote about that. I really do need to get back to taking some time to do some research articles and put stuff together. You even have the little bit of the concrete still remaining from the parking lot that used to exist at that McDonald's location. Now we're at West 139th and Triskett. We'll cross the street. And then up next will be West 140th. If you made a left-hand turn on 140th, that would take you over a longer bridge that connects you over to Lorraine Avenue, and you'd pass our favorite scrapyard along the way, All Scrap Savage, I believe it's called. Now we'll wait for this next light. When this light changes, when I get over there, I think we're going to go over to Orchard Grove. I need to check on the maps. I think it might just be 2 blocks down and then go a little bit further. But I'm hoping it's still there. We'll see if it is or not. My mom, when she was riding through a month or so ago, she was going through and there was a certain house that had like a pretty cool mini pumpkin patch in her yard. So I want to see if that still exists. I mean, it's getting toward mid to late September here. So it's possible the pumpkins are already to the point where they picked them, so maybe we won't exactly see them. But we'll check it out. Just give me 1 second while I make sure this is where I want to go. All right, and once again, my mom is accompanying me on this ride. So I was checking the map and trying to decide the best way to get there, and I just ended up asking my mom since she's the one who saw it. She said, oh, it's probably better to just keep going down Triskett, and once we get up near the traffic light, we can make a right-hand turn. So we'll end up staying on Triskett for now. Got this car just parked halfway on the sidewalk. Over there on the left side of the road, you've got a house that's decorated for a combination of, I don't know if you could pick it up in the camera since I'm facing forward. It's decorated for Halloween and has a big, semi-big Cleveland Browns inflatable. The Browns play in about 2 hours from now. Week 3 game against the Green Bay Packers. Nice little free little library on the right there. Always cool when people have those up and then the community can drop off or pick up items. So we're passing West 142nd Street now. Okay, I peeked at my map. I can sort of see why this was better to get to Orchard Grove. Oh, we have one of those Ohio historical markers here talking about a modern day Exodus. Beth Israel West Temple. Says Orchard Park and Harley. I think this might be, this is where St. Mel's is. Let me check again on the map. Okay, yeah. Anyway, this is one of those roads I take all time whenever I go to Warren Village in the past, but again, another one of those roads where I just don't pay attention. Like, I know it by visual, but I don't pay attention to what the name of the road is. Orchard Park. And I'm not sure which side of the street it's on. So let me check with the... Okay, it sounds like it's going to be on the left side. Alright, I'm going to go down just a little bit before I cross over. And again, I won't be disappointed if they're not there anymore. Understand, it's a seasonal thing, but just figured on the way to Warren Village, might as well check it out to see if it's still there. Because I thought when my mom showed me, it would have been cool to highlight. Across the street, there's one of those big skeletons. He's got two of his skeletal dogs there. A few of these houses have pumpkins on their front porch. Yeah, there's a lot of nice, some houses have like the nice subtle Halloween displays, and this seems to be one of those roads that, and maybe more of them will come that have that. Like, this is a display that's very simple, but I think it's nice and cool, just the way the whole setup is. Alright, now this house has a bunch of pumpkins. I'm going to check with Mom just to see for sure where it's at, because I don't want to skip it just in case. Alright, cool. So this is the house. So I do have the pictures, fortunately, from when my mom took them back in August. You can see like how the yard had the actual pumpkin patch type thing, but now they're all ready to go, and there's the pumpkins that they've grew. That's pretty cool. 5 cool pumpkins. Alright, so let me make sure my camera's set up fully here again. Yeah, so that was cool to see the finished product. I don't know if you could tell those pumpkins, like they were like great shape, and like the stems on them were so thick, and sometimes you can get nice pumpkins at the store too. But just to, grow them yourselves. And she said she's gonna, her and her kids are gonna do them again next year, doing the pumpkin patch where because she was actually just coming out right now when I stopped the video and I was listening to her. They're gonna plant them, they put the seeds close to the house, and then at a certain point in the season, you just move the dirt over toward the front and kind of helps make the pumpkin patch grow. So that's awesome to see. And then right up ahead down here is Warren Village. And then you've got the bank that's changed names so many times with how many times it's been bought out or acquired by different places. It was like Ohio Savings Bank, then AmTrust, and back to Ohio Savings for branding purposes, and now they've got the Flag Star branding up top. You got the Nails Tavern, Fitness Place, Buyer's Outlet. K&K Market. And behind all of this, still one of the smaller Giant Eagle locations that exist. You know, most of the ones that are out there now are big locations. But it's nice that they at least maintain one neighborhood presence. Alright, so let's get up on the sidewalk area. Flagstar. Though they actually have a modern ATM now. There used to be one that was so outdated looking. It had like the amber colored font with the black screen, like a terminal station. And then Buyer's Outlet, a very popular local store for many, many years. You can see already still people out here shopping for either the pumpkins or for plants. But I'm gonna figure out where we're gonna park our bikes while at least one of us goes in. You got your smaller pumpkins, $5.99. Tiny ones, pie pumpkins, $2.49. There's Buyer's Outlet, the inside. I'm just waiting outside while Mom is doing a little shopping in there. Some of these Dairy Queen locations, like the one by West 105th Street, put up nice Halloween decorations. And in this one also here in Warren Village, I wonder if it's the same like franchisee owner or if that's more of a bigger trend. It's been a while since I've been in here, but they still have all the fun little grab bag of items. You got your seasonal stuff on the left, you know. It's sort of like the small essentials that you're like, oh shoot, I need that little thing at home, and you know, there's generally at pretty affordable prices. It's like a bigger version of the Mark's, what do you call it? Closeout section, but dedicated to the Buyer's Outlet. Like you need a quick shower curtain or liner, $3.99. You need some latex rubber gloves, $1.29 for a pair. Oven mitts, $1.99. Various puzzle books, $1.49 or even 99 cents. You need some quick entertainment. Plenty of dog chew toys. Looks like they're like $3.99 to $5 depending on it. What about, look at this, you get the Cookie Monster one or Big Bird or Elmo for $4.99. And then some other general supplies over here on the right for school supplies. Glue guns, dry erase markers, mini calculator, greeting cards, little party supply section, mini outdoor gardening or cleaning, gift bags, and more cleaning supplies. The only section that seems somewhat lacking was like the toys. There was a small area that said like, oh, 99-cent toys, but that was just on an end cap. Alright, so that was fun getting to look at Buyer's Outlet. Now I'm back in front of Warren Village. We had parked our bikes in the back. There's only one bike rack here, right next to the Giant Eagle. So we went over in that area and then came back up to the front here. So next we're going to take Warren Road down to, like I said earlier, that shopping plaza where used to be anchored by a Kmart, and had a few other stores along the side. Now it's got Ross Dress for Less, I think it's Birmingham, and there's the Aldi, Starbucks, Popeyes. Not sure what else might be there. There was a Big Lots there initially, but then fairly quickly after it opened, Big Lots basically went out of business, just in general, as a nationwide thing. There's an ambulatory foot center, but that used to be a National City Bank back in the day. See signs for 83 bus that comes this way. On your left. Thank you. We're passing a street called Norway right now before we get to the curve. When my wife came to Cleveland one time, we did a Airbnb for a small stretch, and I think it was at this place right here on the corner there where the circular driveway is, and we were surprised when we got there, and it was roasting hot in the beginning of July. Like, it felt like 95 degrees inside, because it seemed to be advertised with air conditioning. Actually, I'm not positive if that's the place. I think it is, but I have to go back and check. I do remember the circular nature of the driveway. And then the give me 1 second here. I'm trying to think we go this way. We'll wait till the next one. Yeah, eventually only we found out the bedroom had a room air conditioner. There's nothing we could do about it. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it shouldn't, but these multiple curves down Warren leading up to Munn, and then Triskett should be the next one. I always get confused, like what order, which one comes first, and which intersection I'm at. As you can see, it's quite busy going down Warren Road in terms of traffic. You can see also an airplane flying overhead, heading to Hopkins International Airport. couple of football skeletons. It's actually maybe in anticipation of next week's matchup for the Browns, when it's going to be the Browns versus the Detroit Lions. Little sign here, it says it's a 10-minute bike ride to Impet Park. There's Geppetto's building there, but I'm not sure if that one's still open. Like on the outside, through the windows, it looks kind of like the look and feel like it'd be a closed business, but maybe that's just curtains that are pulled down. Just crossing to the other side of the street, so it makes it easier when we get up to Lorraine Avenue here in 150th. It's always kind of nice too how a lot of this whole area has the brick houses, and overall I love the amount of trees that are in the area. Unfortunately, like the street that we live on in Cleveland, or grew up in Cleveland, used to be tree covered, but the city has cut down the majority of the trees over the years, saying, oh, they've lived beyond their lifespan. So this is where Warren Road technically ends. It just turns into West 150th Street. And I believe when I did my video here a couple of years ago, it started here and went the opposite of today's video. Went to Warren Village after that, and then Triskett. I think some of this was open, but some of it was also still under construction. So this gives you a more complete snapshot. And it does look like the branding that they're using for it is West Park Shopping Center. You still got across the street your Taco Bell, McDonald's, and Rally's. So we'll make a left turn here. It's kind of sucks where the sign is. I mean, you're blocking the whole West Park Shopping Center sign by this street pole and the electrical box. But there's the Ross Dress for Less, Burlington, Starbucks, and then, like I said before, back there is where the Big Lots was. So there should be nothing wrong with the building. You're just gonna have to wait for a new tenant to move in, and they've already been actively advertising that. I've seen a certain business realty group online. The new thing was that one spot over there ended up becoming Five Below, and I feel like they could construct something else in the corner, maybe one additional store, but for now, it's not like they have room to expand beyond all that. You've got the Popeyes here. Popeyes, the interesting thing, there used to be a little building on one of the sides of it. That one is gone too, but the Popeyes still standing here. And then Aldi has been open for a couple of years now, but just when I did that particular video, it was not open, right on the corner here. And unlike the one at 117th in Lakewood, this Aldi location has a bike rack positioned right here to our right. Nice and away from the cars and shopping carts. And right next to the store though still. Got the Cheerios $1.65 in the big box. Still one of the best deals you can get for bang for buck at Aldi. I like the Millville Cinnamon Squares, $2.79. They taste, they have a little difference, but to me, if you like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they taste the same as the large size Cinnamon Toast Crunch box, which is $3.97. So about a little over $1 more. And they do have a little bit of a seasonal aisle with the Halloween candy and very slight Halloween merchandise. A little bit of a posable skeleton for $25. Other than that, Aldi always has sort of a closeout section. I guess there are some more Halloween themed things down here. Halloween vinyl tablecloth is kind of cool. Hold your candles and some smaller posable skeletons for only $10. Witch's hat, LED spider, a sign, a witch's broom, inflatable jack-o'-lantern. That's 4 feet for $13, or the inflatable gnome. That's pretty cheap for inflatable. A ghost house for your cat, and some mini pumpkin decorations. Yeah, the 117th location is somewhat gone to hell with how the inventory is, and sometimes the way the shelves are so empty looking. But this one was pretty good. I didn't see how busy it was. I think people have caught on, hey, this Aldi's much better stocked. But if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment down below, and thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time.